Bucknutter. It is Thursday, January 12th, 2017. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and change. If it's Thursday, there can mean only one thing. The lovely and talented Steve Wiltfong from 24/7 Sports, Director of Recruiting, has joined us. Steve, it's pitch black outside. I can't do any weather report for you today.
Good morning, Daniel. Raining here as I'm on my way to the dentist to get my regular cleaning so I can stay fresh and have fresh breath for National Signing Day.
Very important when you're dealing with the public. Speaking of dealing with the public, as everyone knows, we have hit the stretch run here with signing day, just a few weeks away. Tyjon Lindsey, the Californian scat back slot receiver, touchdown threat extraordinaire, was supposed to be a Buckeye. He is not going to be a Buckeye. Really good stretch of recruiting has hit kind of a weird turn here. What's your vibe on Tyjon? Why he's not going to be in the class, where he might end up, and kind of what got us to this point with him?
Well, I think as you get closer and closer to crunch time and decision time, it's easy for prospects to second guess their decision. And I think that with some of these kids that are far away, they get a lot of people in their heads that want to keep them closer to home. And for whatever reason, fill these kids' heads with ideas of why things may be better for them elsewhere. And you know, I'm not fully in tune to why Tyjon reopened, but I think that happened with Darnay Holmes. And you know, you got to make the decision that's best for you. And if you want to stay closer to home, and you know, that's your prerogative. And I'm not judging. I just think that, you know, there's the pull to stay home is real for every high profile prospect because they want them. People in their communities want them around, and it's every day they have people in their ear talking to them about staying home, it's different people. And I know Tyjon's crystal ball in Nebraska right now. So we'll see what happens there. You know, that's still a plane ride away. But with Darnay, it's, you know, I think when it was all said and done, there were too many people telling him he needed to stay home, and that's why he's not a Buckeye, a place he was committed to for a while.
Through no fault of his nephew. With Lindsey, though, the fact that he could end up at Nebraska, does that mean this is a different case?
Well,
I mean, Nebraska is closer?
I think that in a similar circumstance, people were telling Darnay that he could be the man at UCLA. He could be the man at Nebraska. I mean, you know, Nebraska and UCLA, Nebraska's got good players too. You know, I mean, like this, his arrive. Yeah, I'm struggling for the right words here, and I don't even know again if that's why he reopened. I just know what people tell these kids. You can be the man at this place, and it's harder to be the man at that place, which is true. But I mean, Nebraska's got some kids that can run at receiver too, and can make plays. I don't think that was their issue or is going to be their issue as they try and go from a top of the mid tier to an upper tier program. You know, so I'm not. You know, I was surprised to see that Tyjon reopened because he was a guy that was so locked into Ohio State for a while. You know, but again, it's like when you go to buy a house at the last second, you worry, is this the right decision? You know, if you're changing jobs after you've been somewhere for a long time, you know, you second guess it. It's human nature to second guess. It's human nature to second guess things. And maybe that's what happened here too. And then quite frankly, maybe he just didn't want to go to Ohio State, you know, but I do recognize that there's a lot of people in these kids' ears with their own agendas trying to get these kids to go places that they want them to go for whatever reason. And it's crazy.
We are all over the Tyjon Lindsey defection, as it were. So I think today's boarding house would be something you want to read. Speaking of things that could go down today, or good news that could be coming, as one exits, a bigger one could enter. Jalen Harris, the 6'4" let's say, if it's a BM5 wide receiver from Cleveland Heights, also a standout hoopster, has said he's going to make his decision. Ohio State's among the finalists with, I believe, Tennessee and Michigan State, though he's canceled the Tennessee
and Penn State, but the finalists
Penn State,
don't
I'm sorry.
matter, do they?
Yeah, right on. Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
that little song and dance I was doing there for the kids. Bring us up to speed. I mean, Bill has been all over this. Shocker, it's a Cleveland native. That we're on top of it. But Jalen Harris, what do you think of him as a prospect? It's kind of interesting because to me, Harris is the poster child for if Tressel was still the coach, he would have been in the tank probably 18 months ago. But your thoughts on Harris and kind of how he would fit in if he does choose the Buckeyes?
Well, I've been following Bill closely. He's been keeping me up to speed on Bucknuts and behind the scenes. My crystal ball's been on Ohio State for a long time with Jalen. I ultimately thought he would end up in the class because while maybe he's not as polished right now as some of the other guys we've talked about, his upside's certainly as high as anybody's. He's a big, strong, raw, athletic kid that's about to, join a program that has a track record for doing something positive with big, strong, raw, athletic kids. And so, I mean, he's a good-looking specimen with a ton of upside and one of the better in-state prospects when you start talking about ceiling. And having spent time in the Woody, I know that they've said to me multiple times that they just want kids that are athletic and can run, and they'll do the rest with their staff. So here you go. Here's a guy that, has a chance to be a really good player at Ohio State when he does make it official that he's going to be a Buckeye.
Yeah, I'm high on Harris. I did not think he was going to get himself a chance to get in the class. The way things have worked out, though, I think Ohio State will be the winner in the end.
Well, he's a guy they always kept warm, Dan. They kept him warm just because I think he's a guy you take. He's a guy that if they always had a scholarship for, I think they would have taken him. Just because if he brings the right mindset, to be a physical player, he's got position flexibility too, so he's just interesting.
Yep. No, it's a good point. It's not like his offer list are a bunch of MAC schools. This is a highly coveted prospect. It's just kind of a reflection of how good Ohio State recruiting has gotten, that a guy in state has had to wait this long, but let's hope it works out when he does make the call. And then when he does arrive in Columbus,
it's not like Ohio State came back around on him. I think that they kept in touch with him the whole way through. I mean, they just didn't push him to jump in. So he got to go through the process and enjoy some visits and see some other things and compare Ohio State to other schools. And hell, he was inside he was at Penn State for Ohio State's loss there this year. So he saw everything, and it comes back to him wanting to be a Buckeye, and you want guys in your program that want to be Buckeyes. And, obviously when you're talking about a program like Ohio State where they have a puncher's chance at every recruit, some people are going there because it's their best offer, their most high-profile offer, and Ohio State did a great job of recruiting them. But you still want a nice blend of guys that just grew up wanting to be Buckeyes. I think those are guys that help set the tone and pulse in your locker room.
No question. And the basis of Ohio State's success is still the fact that Ohio is so much more productive as a state, Division I prospect-wise, than the rest of the teams that compete within the Big Ten. So it's super important to keep a lockdown on the Buckeye State. You were in San Antonio for all the festivities. The game was a very interesting one to watch. There were tons of Buckeyes there. We got the Akuta commitment. Just as we finish up here, put a bow on your time in San Antonio and kind of the group the Buckeyes had down there. Now that you have it fading in the rearview mirror, what's your vibe on what Ohio State had?
Well, I thought Chase Young flashed top of the NFL draft board potential, as did Jeffrey Okudah. I thought they did little things that separated them from their peers. I think that Baron Browning impressed in practice a lot with just his athleticism and frame and upside. I thought Wyatt Davis was really good in the game. I thought Josh Myers showed a lot of toughness all week. I know I'm forgetting a couple guys that practiced, right, that are Ohio State commits. But you get the picture.
Yeah, they were missing a few guys, though.
Right. I spent some time with J.K. in the lobby. Tyjon was obviously hurt. Oh, Tate was. I mean, we've talked to Tate about Tate ad nauseum. I mean, he's ready for a new challenge. High school football for him at the end was he saw everything before everybody else did. Nobody was playing the game at a slower speed at that position than Tate. And so, you know, we'll see what he does at Ohio State. I think he expects to redshirt. I also think it was real that he was considering some other options late, to go back to our original point. Although I asked some people around the Woody, they would have been I apologize about this big truck driving by, but I asked some people in the Woody and they would have been surprised if he flipped. So I didn't want to play it up more than the message board post I put on the board, letting people know that we knew. But you know, so we'll see what he does at Ohio State.
I think Martell's career at Ohio State is going to be one of the most fascinating to watch. He's always going to be a lightning rod prospect just because of his size, but his personality and his leadership, and like you said, his knowledge of the game could push him through. We appreciate Steve stopping by. He's got to go to the dentist. Let's hope he gets gas just for the cleanups, because otherwise you don't want to lie in that chair. Have a great one, Bucknutters.
Appreciate you guys.